I'm Russ Mitchell. Americans celebrate their independence as authorities stay on alert. There's a huge police presence at holiday celebrations coast to coast, while some fireworks shows are called off out of fear that they could touch off wildfires. In Britain, an intelligence failure, what agents knew about the terror suspects before last week's attempted car bombings. A British hostage is finally freed on our Independence Day.
It is the most extraordinary 4th of July for me that I could imagine.
And fishtails gone too far. The scandal at the lake.
Why would someone cheat about fishing?
Dollar bill, honey. Dollar bill.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
And good evening. Katie is off tonight. All over the country this evening, authorities are keeping a close watch on 4th of July celebrations. Terror attacks are the main concern, and not only in big cities. Here's Nancy Cordes.
With parades and fireworks displays beckoning millions of Americans to Main Street, USA, law enforcement officers are walking a fine blue line, trying to make their presence felt in the wake of terror attempts across the Atlantic, without creating the impression that an attack is expected here.
Every place you look, I'm seeing police.
They're on the National Mall in Washington, D.C., where officers from 20 different police agencies are manning 19 checkpoints.
I think we've got it locked down pretty well.
In Miami, police erected a mobile surveillance tower at the site of tonight's fireworks display.
We can actually zoom right in onto the barge itself.
Additional officers are keeping watch from police boats in the harbor.
Just in case you get lax or complacent, you've got London and Glasgow to remind you that there's an enemy out there.
In the waters off Los Angeles, Coast Guard crews are boarding and inspecting more foreign vessels than usual.
They're looking for anything that could be hazardous or dangerous, bombs, knives, guns, anything that could be potentially hazardous to come into America.
New York's mayor says residents should not allow the added security to deter them from enjoying Independence Day.
Day to remind ourselves about our freedoms, a day to remember those who are overseas fighting and dying for us so that we can have the freedoms that we have.
New freedoms for these new citizens in Rochester, New York. Nationwide, more than 4,000 people will take citizenship oaths this week, a 4th of July tradition. The primary threat to fireworks displays on the eastern seaboard may turn out to be the weather here in New York City. It's raining. And down in Washington, D.C., Russ, the National Mall had to be evacuated this evening, not because of security concerns, but because of fast-moving thunderstorms.
Nancy Cordes in Times Square here in Manhattan. Thank you so much. Security is not the only concern this 4th of July. So is severe weather. Flooding brought on by too much rain in Texas and the Plains, but not nearly enough rain in the west and southeast. We have 2 reports, beginning with Sandra Hughes.
Triple-digit temperatures in California's San Fernando Valley didn't prevent people from celebrating the 4th of July.
If you can't stand the heat, you gotta get out of the kitchen.
But bone-dry conditions and an enduring drought have put the lid on many fireworks shows. Here in Los Angeles, the city is on track to record the driest 12 months since records began in 1877.
One spark could lead to the beginning of a severe fire. Again, the conditions we're seeing are very severe, extreme.
Those conditions are exactly what forced Burbank, California officials to cancel their annual fireworks display after receiving just 3 inches of rain in the last year. Across the southwest and southeast, extreme drought conditions, shown here in brown and red, are making this holiday a nervous one. The dry conditions have fed fires like the Neola blaze, which has already burned some 62 square miles near Salt Lake City and killed 3 people. Officials now say it may burn all summer. Just this week, officials declared the entire state of Alabama a drought disaster area and warned anyone using fireworks tonight.
With the drought going on being the way that it is, we also encourage you to make sure you stay away from any kind of brush, forest areas, things of that nature.
For many this 4th of July, just finding relief from the hot, dry conditions will be cause for celebration. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
I'm Hari Srinivasan in Dallas, where hot and dry would be welcome relief. It rained today for the 10th day in a row, tying an 85-year-old record. Overnight flash floods again inundated low-lying areas in some Fort Worth suburbs, stopping traffic and turning golf courses into water hazards. South of Houston, the search continues for a 6-year-old boy swept by high river waters into the Gulf. In San Antonio, a flooded street stranded 2 pizza men until they could be delivered to safety.
Thought he could make it this time, and it didn't work out for him.
Above normal rain has cut a swath through 3 states this summer. In just the past month, Dallas, Oklahoma City, and Coffeyville, Kansas have received more than a foot of rain. A refinery near Coffeyville spilled some 42,000 gallons of thick crude oil, which is making its way down the Verdigris River toward Tulsa's water supply.
Well, they said it was a 100-year flood. The last time it flooded, I think it was 86. It ain't been 100 years yet.
In Wichita Falls, Texas this week, Hugo Gallegos led us to his home in a neighborhood lined with flooded cars and houses.
It makes us feel sad because all the hard work we did for this 9 years that we've been together, it just went down the drain.
Rain and thunder showers still threaten the region, but forecasts do call for gradual clearing, meaning people have one more reason to look skyward tonight and celebrate. Hari Srinivasan, CBS News, Dallas.
Turning overseas now, today the British government lowered its terror threat level from the highest one, critical, to the next highest, severe. Also today, British intelligence came under criticism. Agents apparently knew quite a bit about some of the terror suspects well before the bombing attempts in London and Glasgow. More now from Sheila McVicker.
In 6 days, massive car bombs were found in London. Terrorists attacked Glasgow airport. Authorities launched an intensive investigation. And by bringing the threat level down from critical to severe, authorities are signaling their confidence they have broken the terror cell.
There may be new individuals that they will want to seek to question, but at the moment, in relation to this particular plot, they believe it's reached its end.
Of the 8 suspects in custody, it's emerged at least 3 were on the radar of MI5, the Domestic Intelligence Service. And intelligence sources tell CBS News that one, Dr. Bilal Abdullah, part of the would-be suicide bomb team at Glasgow airport and believed to have driven one of the bomb cars to London, had been under surveillance. With Shiraz Maher, he'd been part of a radical group.
He was very angry about the West, particularly Britain and America, and obviously the invasion of Iraq. And he supported the attacks against British and American forces out there. And he saw it very much as the sort of classic Islamist idea of this being a crusader war.
This is not the first time MI5 has missed crucial clues. The bombers of London's transport system 2 years ago were photographed meeting with another terror cell.
It's a failure of intelligence. There will be questions asked. I mean, clearly that they should have got hold of them.
And from Baghdad, news of a bizarre warning from an al-Qaeda leader to a senior Anglican cleric who told the British government.
He gave me a whole litany of destruction that he wanted to cause to the British. It was really quite unpleasant. He finished with the words, "Those who cure you will kill you."
Missed signals, and if the bombs had exploded, a potentially devastating failure. Security analysts say the involvement of doctors in this plot adds a whole new and worrying dimension. Britain's Prime Minister said today there will be more background checks for professional migrants. Sheila McVicker, CBS News, London.
And now to Gaza, where BBC reporter Alan Johnson was freed today by kidnappers who had held him for 114 days in a 6-by-8-foot room. Johnson was the only Western journalist covering the Palestinian crisis in Gaza full-time. He was not in the habit of celebrating July 4th, but he may be from now on. Elizabeth Palmer has more on his dramatic release.
Alan Johnson was hustled to freedom by a crowd of Palestinian reporters and Hamas gunmen.
It was like being buried alive, really, removed from the world, and occasionally terrifying. You were in the hands of people who were dangerous and unpredictable.
Dangerous enough to release a video of Johnston wearing a suicide belt.
An explosive belt.
Warning he'd be killed if anyone tried to rescue him from a hideout deep in the squalor of Gaza. It belonged to the Dogmush clan, criminals who called themselves the Army of Islam, inspired by Al-Qaeda. It was the Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh who finally brokered Johnston's release today, then served him his first decent breakfast in 4 months before handing him over to British diplomats. During the long, bleak months, Johnston's hope was kept alive by a small radio, which reassured him he wasn't forgotten.
How many kidnapped victims are able to sit and listen to their friends giving them messages of support from around the world?
Far away in Scotland at his parents' home, there was pure elation.
We're absolutely overjoyed. It's been 114 days of a living nightmare.
A nightmare that only ended when Hamas threatened to attack the Dogmush clan compound and then took 2 clan members hostage to trade for Alan Johnston. And so this afternoon, he walked out of Gaza no longer a prisoner, but a celebrity, and gloriously free. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, London.
There is more CBS News ahead. The calendar says July 4th, but the presidential candidates are acting like it's Labor Day. The campaign's heating up earlier than ever.